Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to our new lecture for the subject of accounting in the chapter trial balance. Dear learners, you know trial balance is a very important chapter for this subject. This is a very important and very easiest chapter of accounting subject. This chapter is applicable for class 9 business studies, class 10 business studies and class 11 business studies students. Today I will deliver the lesson number 4 for the chapter of trial balance. For the lesson number 5 I will deliver today in front of you, dear learners. Now you can take your accounting practice copy for writing my speech and content. I think you are ready to take my new lecture for the chapter of trial balance. Dear learners, you are watching a new content for the creative question number 5. That is lesson number 5 for this chapter, that is trial balance. Just I read the STEM. To test the arithmetical accuracy of accounts is the main and foremost object of a trial balance. Mr. Adil wants to prepare a trial balance from the following balances as at 31st December 2019. Sales taka 2 lakh, cash in hand taka 1119, that is opening cash in hand or opening cash balance taka 3000, wages taka 2200, rent and taxes taka 1800, trade expenses taka 1600, general reserve taka 2000, cash at bank taka closing taka 1400, interest on loan taka 1000, advertisement taka 10,000, depreciation taka 2000, mortgage loan taka 20,000, capital taka 22,000, bank overdraft taka 10,000, opening bank balance taka 5,000, salary due taka 5,000, advance rent taka 6,000, bills receivable taka 22,000, purchase taka 1,60,000, closing stock taka 35,000, goodwill taka 92,000, opening bills receivable taka 7,000. From this system, you have to complete the 3 requirements. Requirement A, determine the amount which balances will not be recorded in the trial balance. Requirement B, prepare a trial balance from the above balances. Requirement C, determine the amount of revenue, expenditures and current assets. Dear learners, I think you have written the question or STEM or passage of creative question in your accounting practice copy. Now we can go for solving this creative question. At first, the requirement A, determine the amount which balances will not be recorded in the trial balance. Dear learners, at first you have to draw a new format for requirement A. The balances which are not included in the trial balance. Dear boys and girls, In this STEM, totally 4 items are available for not recorded in the trial balance or for not included in the trial balance. Number 1, cash in hand 1119, that is opening cash balance taka 3000, opening bank balance taka 5000, closing stock taka 35000, opening bills receivable taka 7000. Total amount of money taka 50,000, which will not be recorded in the trial balance. Dear students, from the rules and regulations or procedure of preparing a trial balance, generally the items not included in trial balance: opening cash balance, opening bank balance, closing stock, opening bank overdraft, and opening current assets and opening current liabilities, which is changed in the accounting year. I repeat again, the items not included in trial balance: opening cash, opening bank overdraft, closing stock, and also opening current assets and opening current liabilities, which changed in the accounting current year. Dear learners, now we can go for our real requirement in this chapter, that is the trial balance. Now you have to draw a format for preparing a trial balance. You can see in my slide. Totally 5 columns available in trial balance. Serial number, account title, ledger folio, debit taka, credit taka. Trial balance of Mr. Adil as at 31st December 2019. From the STEM, we can write it in trial balance. Sales. Sales is one kind of revenue, that is income. This is the main source of income of any business. Sales is all time shows credit balance, so it is credited in this trial balance taka 2,01,000. Wages is one kind of revenue expenditure or expenses. Any expenses always shown debit balance, so wages is debited in this trial balance for taka 2,200. Rent and taxes is one kind of revenue expenditure, that is expenses, so it is debited in this trial balance for taka 1,800. Trade expenses, it is another revenue expenditure or expenses items. From the rules and procedure of preparing a trial balance, all expenses are debit, so trade expenses is debited in this trial balance for taka 1,600. General reserve, another name is reserve fund. From the rules and procedure of preparing a trial balance, general reserve or reserve fund or bad debt reserve, a bad debt provision is always in all time shown credit balance. So in this STEM, general reserve taka 2,000 is credited for trial balance. Cash at bank, that is closing cash at bank. Opening cash, opening bank overdraft, and closing stock not included in trial balance, but closing cash or closing bank and opening stock is all time included in trial balance. So at this moment you are watching in my slide in the trial balance, cash at bank closing is debited in trial balance for taka 1,400. Interest on capital, capital is all time is credited, but this amount of interest, that is interest on capital, is one kind of other expenses or non-operating expenses in business. that is revenue expenditure. So it is debited in trial balance for taka 1000. Advertisement, that is the amount of publicity expenses. This is the amount of revenue expenditure, that is expenses in this trial balance for taka 10,000 is debited for advertisement in the trial balance. Depreciation is one kind of loss or reducing value of fixed asset or written down value of tangible fixed asset. So in all time, depreciation shows a debit balance. In this trial balance, depreciation is debited for taka 2000. Mortgage loan, any kind of loan, bank loan, mortgage loan, bond or debenture in all time is long-term liabilities. Long-term liability shows credit balance. So mortgage loan is credited in the trial balance for taka 10,000. Capital, that is the big amount of equity. By capital investing or equity increasing, so capital in all time balance shows is credit. So capital is credited for taka 22,000 in this trial balance. Bank overdraft is one kind of current liability. That is liability. We know from the rules and procedure of preparing a trial balance, all liabilities are credited in trial balance. So bank overdraft is credited for taka 10,000 in trial balance. Salary due, that is another name of salary is payable, or salary outstanding, or accrued salary, or salary unpaid. This is the amount of liabilities, that is current liabilities or short-term liabilities. All liabilities are credited. So salary due is credited in trial balance for taka 5,000. Advance rent, that is prepaid rent. Rent is expenses, but advance rent or prepaid rent is one kind of asset, that is current assets or short-term asset. So in all time, all assets are debit in trial balance. That's why advance rent is debited in trial balance for taka 6,000. Bills receivable, one kind of current assets. We know any kind of receivable amount, it's shown in debit balance. The bills receivable is debited in trial balance for taka 22,000. Purchase, this is the biggest amount of expenditure in any business. So purchase, that is all time is shown debit balance. That's why purchase is shown as debited in trial balance for taka 1,60,000. Goodwill, this is the amount of super property scale, that is one kind of fixed asset, that is intangible fixed asset. We know all assets are debit balance showing. So goodwill is debited in trial balance for taka 92,000. Now all balances are shown in trial balance, but in debit side of trial balance amount taka 3 lakh, but credit side of trial balance is taka 2,50,000. So in this trial balance not agreed the both side. So at this moment in this trial balance you have to open a new account for suspense and credit side for taka 50,000. Then you have to be equal in trial balance for taka 3 lakh in debit and 3 lakh in credit. I repeat again, suspense account is the temporary account which is created for missing amount of credit or suspending amount of credit for taka 50,000. Now we can say that total of trial balance is taka 3 lakh. Dear learners, I think you have already completed the trial balance. Now we can go for solving the requirement C. That is the amount of current assets and revenue expenditure. Dear learners, from this system we have to identify the current assets or short-term asset and the amount of revenue expenditures or expenses. At first you have to write the current assets in this way. The format is available: serial number, account titles, amount, taka, detail, total. From this system we can get totally 4 assets are related to current assets or short-term asset. Number 1, cash at bank for taka 1,400, advance rent taka 6,000, bills receivable taka 22,000, closing stock taka 35,000. Dear students, current assets are related to asset, cash in hand or cash at bank or bank balance, advance rent, advance insurance premium, prepaid rent or prepaid wages, accounts receivable or debtors, bills receivable, unused stationery or stock of stationery, closing stock or unsold goods, accrued interest or interest receivable, commission receivable or accrued commission, etc. related to current assets. So from this system we can get the amount of current assets total taka 64,400. Now we can go for finding out the revenue expenditures from this system. Same format is given: serial number, account title, amount, taka, detail, total. Wages, this is the amount of expenses, that is revenue expenditure. From trial balance we can get taka 2,200 for wages. Rent and expenses, rent and expenses is one kind of expenditure, so it is written in revenue expenditure side for taka 1,800. Trade expenses, that is one kind of revenue expenditure or expenses, it is written in revenue expenditure side taka 1,600. Interest on capital, capital is the amount of equity. In all time is shown in equity item, that is credit item, but capital interest, that is interest on capital, is all time is one kind of revenue expenditure. It's basically other expenses or non-operating expenses, so it is written in revenue expenditure side interest on capital for taka 1,000. Advertisement, this is the biggest expenditure of any business in this current world. So revenue advertisement is written under revenue expenditure said taka 10,000. Depreciation is the amount of reducing value of tangible fixed assets, so it is revenue expenditure or expenses, so it is written in revenue expenditure taka 2,000. Purchase amount is the biggest amount of expenditure for business, so it is written in revenue expenditure set for taka 1,60,000. Another item is written closing stock, but it is written in negative figure taka 35,000 from the system. Dear students, and closing stock, that is unsold stock, not sold item, so it is deducted from the revenue expenditure. Now we can get total amount of revenue expenditures from this system. It's taka 1,43,600. Dear learners, I have already completed the critic question of trial balance. This was lecture number 5. I repeat again, this is the very important chapter for any class, that is class 9, 10 and 11 business studies students. I hope you have understood it very easily. and you will practice much and more at your home. Dear learners, thanks for being today. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.